there's a lot of things that I told myself that I won't do in my life, right? And those things include getting married.
Okay.
I told myself that I would never get married. I looked at it from a distance and it'd be like, this is not for me, you know?
Okay.
So that's number one. Number two, being a father.
Ha.
I told myself that I would never be a father.
Here you are. You are like Abraham now. You have
Amen.
many sons.
Amen.
I have you see my community on TikTok. It's big, but it's my most comfortable community ever. And I've got like 800 and what thousand there. I don't know. But even if I'm trying to fix the camera and whatever, I do it on TikTok. I would never do it on YouTube. And then on Facebook, I've got you see the Perseverance, the verified one, it's been my personal account. I had to change it. Comfortable there. Most of the people know me, and the ones that come in, they behave. Then there's this Madam Speaker one. Because I never attend to it. When I come back, men are swearing at me.
Yeah, it's always, I see that, and that's the one that I see most comments on.
Is it? And I never read that one. I think that's why they come for me, because I never...
They do come once in a while.
Once in a while, I'm like, what's going on here?
Hey.
I know, Maravenda people these days, they left me alone. They decided to leave me alone. I don't know why they were coming for me.
All right, ready or not, here we start.
Have you ever received hate from vendor people? Okay,
No.
we are already...
My followers
this
are
is
not.
already a podcast.
My followers are not vendor.
They're not vendor people.
No.
Okay,
Hardly.
this is an episode, by the way. We have already started. I'm going to do the intro while we are in it. So, what is your feel on vendor people like? Okay, let me not project. Ne personally, I feel like vendor people, we don't really support each other per se. We really, we've got this spirit of Pharaoh, where we want to see vendors doing well, but not too well. I want to see you progressing, but I want to see where you are. I think even the people that I've seen being dragged by vendor, they've been dragged by the vendor people are the one who always start and initiate the dragging. People like Yobo Makadzi, Yoshudufadzo, Musida. These people were dragged at home first before they could make it big. By the time they go out there, they've already, So for me, I feel like in most this whole thing of Send Studios and myself, it's so weird because for me personally, I feel like vendor people never really support each other.
But is it not because you're a vendor?
That they feel like, I want to marry many.
No. What I'm saying is that the fact that you're a vendor, you're able to see it because you're associated with vendors. So I'm guessing that if it's a Zulu person, they would say the same. The reason why I'm saying so is because I've had people from other cultures or tribes. They would say that vendors support each other.
Oh, so our abuse towards each other is internalized, a family affair.
Yeah, it's a family affair wherein other people see you guys as close. And especially if I look at maybe the work environment and stuff like that, whenever you have a vendor person coming into the company, like you will see all the vendors starting to move closer to the person, right? And then automatically the rest of the people, not knowing that it's a comfortability when it comes to the language, they think, oh, you guys, you support each other, because this person is still new, then you want to, get them into the company and all those things. So other people that are looking at it from outside, they think we are very close. And I'm sure that's what we see with other tribes as well.
Yeah. I personally feel like Zulu people support each other. Right? That's what I
They
feel
might share different sentiment
about each other, ne?
Yeah.
Because for me, I feel like, it's a lot. But I guess we have different views.
No, definitely. We have different views and we are allowed to have different views. Yeah.
Yeah, because I've always tried to run away from vendor people because I felt like they were way too harsh, and the day they came for me, I was swearing. Yo, the big vulgar words I was saying, I'm like, that bus of Padziri that came to bring you guys here, let it come and fetch him. All of them, take them back to Toyando or something. I don't know.
Maybe it's because, like I said, you're a vendor, so they're able to get to you easily, you know?
Okay.
So it's one of us, so we are able to judge them anyhow, And the fact that you're bigger on these platforms, it makes a difference as well.
With me, I think they found out late when I'm a vendor. They found out very late. Some people think I'm Tsonga, something Pedi because I stay in place. My kids
But
speak
still, it
Pedi.
was vendors who were dragging you.
No, I've had my fair share of being dragged by other people, right? But from a distance, I would see vendor people dragging other vendor people, and they don't hold back.
Okay,
And also, I think another thing it's vendor people pride themselves in isdima, dignity, chirunzi, I don't know what you call it. What is it? Is it dignity? Well, or what?
Yeah, well,
This
call
thing
it
of
that.
Tana, because we are known for being peaceful people who like order and whatnot. But hey, in the house, hey, it's not so orderly. But anyway, welcome to the Safe Space Chess podcast with Madam Speaker. My name is Perseverance Marimeni, also known as Madam Speaker, also known as the CEO of Self Love. If you're joining for the first time, welcome to the family of healing, self love, and motivation. And if you're returning, thank you so much for the continuous love and support that you are showing me today. Is one of those days, guys. But before we get to this day being so special, I just want to send a special shout out to E2 Hair Studios, a special shout out to Crown Lioness, a special shout out to Virtues in Doni Lodge, a special shout out to, what's the other one, my sister? Hydro Quench. Last but not least, a special shout out to Send Studios. Apparently, I need to ask guys and beg and ask if somebody wants to sponsor me for shoes because I wear the same shoes every episode. So, guys, please, if anybody wants to come on board and borrow me shoes or give me shoes, because I apparently wear the same shoes, I'd really appreciate it. But today, we have... I want to introduce him myself. Okay, no, let me not introduce him myself. I'm going to let him introduce himself. But the hint is that in most episodes that are quite interesting, I'd be mentioning him, and saying, hey, Pastor so-and-so there at the back, please give us 5 extra minutes, and people will be so mad at him. And I just want to say, guys, this is my brother, please. He's just doing his job. So don't come for him because the episode was just too short or the guest took longer to get to the point and whatever. He's just doing his job. So, yeah, now that I'm done defending him, I'm going to allow him to introduce himself. My brother.
Hi, Percy.
How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. How are you?
Why are you calling me with my VIN number?
Yeah, well, I'm not sure about the whole Madam Speaker. I think it applies elsewhere, but I think here at home, we call you Percy. So,
Okay.
hi, Percy.
How are you doing, Pastor Bae?
I'm good. I'm good. You said I should introduce myself. So I think my real name, Sudufadzo Chivati, commonly known as Pastor Bae, and uncommonly as well, because like you said, other people see this villain behind the camera that is trying to prevent them from shooting the content. But then again, I'm proud of that, right? I don't mind at all being dragged for something that I have to do, because if you have a business, there are certain things or protocols that you have to follow so that you can be able to uphold the rest of all your clients, if I can put it that way. So yes, basically Sudufadzo Chiwati from Chakuma, in Venda, Limpopo to be in particular. Do you want to know more?
I want to know why they call you Pastor Bae. How did that come about?
Okay, so Pastor Bae, oh my. My wife is not really fond of the name, especially when it comes to retaining the name, because she believes that it has got a negative connotation to it, on the basis of what we used to do when I was called Pastor Bae.
Oh, maybe you want to take us through that.
Yeah, so definitely. So Pastor Bae came from the YouTube viewers.
Okay.
So me talking about God more often. So there is that pastor part that was attached to me. And then there was also the fact that I was doing content with my wife. So automatically I'm the Bae of the wife, right? So then they attached the two and decided to call me Pastor Bae. So it basically came from the YouTube streets, if I were in particular.
And this name is the one. Pella, we never call you anything else.
Yeah, and I like it for to be honest, I like it, right? Yeah, so that's the name. Like I said, my wife is not fond of the name, right?
Why?
You must ask her when you do other episodes with her as to why she doesn't like it. But I think the whole Bae part.
She's jealous, of us calling you Bae.
I think so.
Well, it's
Somebody
too late.
should call her out.
No, it's too late. You gave us the name. We're running with it.
And I like it. Not complaining at
Bae
all.
Mama 2000, Pastor Bae.
Amen.
Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, that's me in a nutshell. Obviously married for 14 years or so, and I've got 2 kids biological. But I think the most interesting part is that I became a father even before I became a biological father, which is maybe something that we'll touch on the episode. But yeah, that's me.
Okay. How does becoming a father before you actually become a biological father, how's that like?
Okay, it's tough, right? To say the least, it's tough. Maybe when you get older, it becomes easy. But for me, doing it at a younger age, that's where the challenge was. I think it posed a lot of challenges for me growing up with different ambitions for myself. I mean, mind you, there's a lot of things that I told myself that I won't do in my life, right? And those things include getting married.
Okay.
I had told myself that I would never get married. I looked at it from a distance and I'd be like, this is not for me. You know?
Okay.
So that's number one. Number two, being a father.
Ha.
I told myself that I would never be a father.
Here you are like Abraham now. You have
Amen.
many sons.
Amen.
Ha.
Hey. You know, God is giving. I guess the scripture that be fruitful and multiply is coming to fruition, if I can call it that.
Okay, before we get to the part of how you got to become a father, even though you didn't want to become a father, let's talk about how you became a father of the children that you didn't bear.
Okay, so let's take it back a bit, right? To be able to give the background in terms of how this came about. So I met my wife. We met in Pretoria. We met at church, and then we fell in love, I guess.
That's why we're here.
Yeah, whatever. What do they call it? Infatuation or whatever the word is.
Yeah, the big English
am I
word.
taming you?
You're telling me
Okay.
infatuation.
Yeah.
What does that mean? I wanted to ask the 2000. It's fine.
Aye. Let's leave it there for now. As long as something about liking each other, right? So we
Yes.
liked each other. We decided to be together. We got engaged very early in the relationship. I think 4 or 5 months within the whole relationship. Then we got married. I think 9 months or whatever the case
How do you
is
get
along
married?
the line.
Wait, Pastor Bae. How do you get married within 9 months when all your life you never wanted to get married? It took 9 months for this. This woman has got voodoo.
Exactly, that's my point. That like something flipped. Whether it's Muti, whether it's God, whether it's whatever, I don't know. What I know is that I got married.
Ha!
That's what I was left. I was left with a ring on my finger. How it came about, I do not know. You know, like when certain things happen in your life, let's say they use Muti on you, right? It comes to a point where at times you get awake, Nyan. I don't know if they go and edit up or top it up or something like that.
One more teaspoon.
One more teaspoon, you know. So there were times where I would be awake and be like, hey, this is not me. What is Kangan, you know? Then I
Revive.
Exactly. Then I end up being here. So yeah, it's a complicated one. Even myself, I still don't know today.
Okay, but just in very, very brief, ne?
Yeah.
Why were you not inspired to get married?
Ah man, I like the streets. I liked the streets. And I grew up in a very, at least to what I know, I grew up in a very, what do they call it? A stable home.
Okay.
You know, my father was there, my mother was there, all of us, the children were there. It was a very good home. We had our differences, but I think from the parent side, we only saw the good things, you know, even though now when you're older, they start telling you, we had them issues, you know, we just kept them in the bedroom. But I grew up in a very stable home, but it was just not for me. Like I looked at it and be like, I don't want to be this, you know, I don't want to be
to someone every day
single
forever.
day coming back home. Like we had strict rules at home. They would say, come back at 6 o'clock. I didn't want that. I wanted different for myself. That's what I think about it.
Sure. You know, the other day, we were, these controversial topics that we always have, that people who are raised by both parents, they think that the creme de la cremes of marriage because they grew up with both parents, they know everything. But in essence, things like resolving issues in the household, when parents actually hide that, because I also had a fair share of growing up with both parents, and it's tricky, especially when it's coming from households where when parents are not okay, you can tell. pots are flying across the room. But tomorrow morning, the parents have made up in the bedroom. They didn't even involve you guys and give you the transitioning of the the emotional well-being for you guys, so that at least by the time they are okay, you are also okay, you understand what the issue was, and then you resolve it. So then when we get into marriages, we feel like, when you can't tell me anything, you were raised by a single mother. I'm the one who knows because my parents are together, only to find out, actually, they were sitting on a hot Brahma stove.
Exactly. But that's what I think we as parents, when you get, let's say, for instance, you've got a partner, either married or unmarried, you need to be real with your kids, right? To such an extent that they need to understand that mommy and daddy do have issues and they do go through issues, and this is how they resolve them. You don't want them to find out in marriage or in a relationship that, hey, kuyashuba, and this is not something that we dealt with. In as much as they should see the love side, they should also see the bad side. But obviously you have to control the bad side so that it does not end up being a burden for them.
No, I hear you. And I agree with you.
You wouldn't disagree with me, don't worry.
Why not?
Because I say things that are right.
Well,
I've got confidence in myself.
Somebody actually said that to me during the day. They're like, if you could just borrow me your confidence for one day, just one. Where do we buy this confidence?
I wonder. We should ask around.
Ne?
Yeah, maybe share a bit with other people that lack confidence, like people that are watching us right now. But
yeah.
It's all good.
You know what? I think this thing, it's got absolutely nothing to do with anything else. It's just who you are. If you were born confident, unless if something happens and it gets to you, then the confidence disappeared,
Definitely.
But also, let's go back to the issue of you adopting.
Yeah. Oh, I was still explaining the story.
Yes.
I left it somewhere. Mina, I'm not a good storyteller.
It's fine. I'll drive it.
Thank you. But yeah, when we got married, after the 9 month, then I think a few months down the line, her mother passed on. Then when she passed on, the father had not been present in both their lives, right? And the family as well was a bit in tatters, as in like one is pulling this way, the other one is pulling that way. So immediately when the mother passed on, because both of us were still young at that time, I think I was 22. And she was, I think, either 19 or 20 at that time, or 20, let me call it. So both of us were still young. So automatically, because the family is at loggerheads with each other, then that's wherein we had a meeting with the family, and then a decision had to be made about the young man that was there, the brother, And when that time came, they asked around, what is the best decision? What is the solution? For me, I didn't think twice about it, because I knew that I know that it's normally said for parents or for mothers when they say ikokoza ruranga something like that.
Yes.
So I thought of it that way, even though it's like I'm saying that one is for mostly mothers and fathers, or whatever the case is. So I saw it that way, that the fact that I'm taking her to be my wife, or I've taken her to be my wife, automatically, if something happens to her family or to her mother or whatever the case is, and the mother was very fond of me as well, so I'd already started building the relationship with the brother, so it was much easier for me to just say, I'll step in. And even though in the meeting, it was first asked, or who will take the responsibility, and nobody was raising their hand, and I felt, okay, I've stepped in, and I believe that I can do it. That's wherein I decided, let me take over this responsibility at my young age. At that time, he was 12 years old. And I was like, I'm just starting life at that time. So I'm looking at my life and I'm like, there is a lot that I can do with my life right now. And to be the father is one last thing I need in my life. And when I spoke to my parents as well, when we had the meeting afterwards with my parents even sat me down. Before I even said anything, they said, this is the situation. You can see you have to take the responsibility yourself. So that's how the whole thing started up.
And then did you get support?
From
maybe your parents, the other family members, after you took up the...
I think verbal support from my family was there.
Verbal?
Verbal support,
Okay.
as in you can do it, you will do it, it's your responsibility now. And I took that alone at that particular time. I was still starting up with my professional career, I think I was I was a technician at that time, and starting with the entry level salary. So I didn't know that things were going to get crazy. Like financially, things were going to get crazy. Like when I was growing up, I had bigger dreams. Trust me, I had huge dreams for myself. And being this person that is limited in terms of resources was never one of them.
My brother, limited where?
Limited.
You are rolling. You are rolling.
Hey, no, not now.
Oh,
I'm
during
talking
that
about
time.
then.
Oh, okay.
Right then.
Yeah, they're coming, the witches from Chakuma.
Oh my God! Yeah, you are inviting them now. They
We're
would
not
think
scared of
that
them.
the reason why I'm not coming back home is because things are popping this side. Hey,
we are rolling in cash.
Hey, they see all these cars. They are like, they keep on changing. Kantiki skoloto, but we are not there.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's pretty much how it began. But like I said, verbal support was there, but the financial responsibility was mine and mine alone. And remember, it's not just the financial responsibility that you need to worry about. You're dealing with a teenager, and you yourself. I think 4 years having passed teenage years, you're still trying to find yourself, your feet in adulthood, and automatically they're saying that you must be a father. That's pretty much what was going through my mind at that time.
What would you say is one of the biggest challenges that you've ever faced as a father to a child that you had to adopt?
I think the biggest thing for me was teaching him to adapt.
Okay.
Like having him adapt to the fact that things have changed, and having to teach him every single day that I am your mate in a way, but at the same time, I'm your father, you know? And at the same time, having to get him accustomed to the fact that life is no longer the same, you know? Because the mother would be present, spoiled child, she would be buying everything, whatever the child needs. Now he's meeting this dude. This dude is trying to start up his career, you know? He's trying to figure out things for himself. And then at the same time, you need to be this example. You need to be this example, and an example that is lost. You know, you are lost in life. You don't know whether you are coming or going. You have got your own challenges. You have to deal with the marriage. Like, I got married young. I still have to mature in this thing that is called a marriage. I still have to adapt to the new life of working. So all these things are coming up at the same time. So I need to be the father. I need to be the role model. I need to be the guardian for that child. I need to be all these things at the same time. And I am just a clueless young man.
In instances like this, now, people usually choose the easy way out. You know, we have these debates all the time about how men can choose whether they want to be there or not. What really compelled you to just be there for this boy, even though you can tell, you can see around you, people choose the easy way out. Even his own biological family chose the easy way out, and they're like, we're not raising our hands. What compelled you to wanting to just be there for this boy?
I think the biggest thing, besides the fact that I had examples at home, my parents used to take their siblings' children. We grew up in a very large home, even though we were not so many as such. From my parents' side, we are 5. The children, but we would be 20, for instance, sleeping in the same house with 2-bedroom, you know, for the children, allocated to the children. So with 2 parents are sharing their own house, own room. The rest of you will manage
sort yourself out.
the other room. So I grew up seeing such things, but beyond that, I'm one person that loves challenges, right?
Okay.
And I like to prove a point to myself to say, you can definitely do it, right? Instead of looking at it, a situation, and looking at it the way it is today, look at how it's going to turn out in the end. So I had that eagerness to want to show him, the young man, to show that he can be a better somebody under my care, right? And making sure that he looks back at whatever life has thrown at him and said that I've become a better person through this man, even though he won't particularly say it. But to me, just seeing him turning out to be something, that's the edge that I wanted to see from him. I mean, that's what pushed me to be able to do the things that I was doing. And I felt like I owed it to his mother as well. I think that's another part. Maybe I had too many reasons, but I felt like I owed it to the mother as well to say that you took me in, you loved me, you cared for me. I mean, she was there in some other instances that I couldn't be able to do certain things. And I owed it to her as well. And the fact that I loved my wife and I felt like that to her, it's important. And I need to step in as well to not only prove my love to her, but also prove my love to her through everything else that surrounds her.
Sure. I know the voodoo is voodooing.
It's working. It has worked wonders. Even now when I'm speaking, you can feel it, ne?
Yeah, I can feel that the voodoo. She's busy activating it there. She's adding more. Add
Yo.
my sister, increase the volume there.
I mean,
of the
I'm
voodoo.
thinking it's me who's talking, can't
It's the voodoo.
I've been tied against the tree
Yeah, no,
somewhere in another farm.
Somewhere in Njerere there.
They have me. They're busy poking.
Yeah, they're poking. No, man, on a serious note, I think you are 10 big men combined with what you have done for this boy. And I wish more men could be like you, you know. I've always had my father as a benchmark of how men should be. And I've never seen, or I never thought I would see anything beyond the capabilities of my father. But as I'm growing older and I'm having conversations, I realize that, you know, there are so many good men out there, or people who know how to be human beings, you know. And I don't think there's any gift. I know your wife likes money and everything, but I don't think there's any gift you can ever gift her that can compare to this gift specifically that you've given to her. You know, she may not say it every day, but I know somewhere in that cleavage, she appreciates.
I'm trying to look for the cleavage now.
Somewhere there, you know. But anyway, now moving on to the fact that earlier on you said that you never wanted to have children.
Yeah.
Your own children.
Yeah.
How did you change your mind on that one?
I did not change my mind. I was basically, she calls it a trick for me to have the children. I don't know how she did that. You know, they always say that women have got many skills. Maybe that's one of her skills, to be a trickster.
Okay.
But I didn't change my mind about that. I think the only time that I got to change my mind was after I had children. I think it was a huge struggle for me to adapt to fatherhood.
Okay.
For some reason, I'm used to being a father of a 12-year-old, but for some reason, it became very strange when I had to have my own child and have to, I developed a spirit of rejection. Like, I rejected her immediately when she became pregnant. I was not involved with my first son. Like, throughout the pregnancy, I would find a reason not to be there. I would find a reason not to want to be part of this child's life, right? And I would make sure that even when it comes to intimacy, from the time that she she became pregnant, I told myself that I'm not going to be part of this, whether it's intimate or whatever the case is. I told myself I'll stay away, and then she will do her own thing. Even when she gave birth, it was like me on the other side. You know, I continued to try and find reasons to be at church, to be out with friends, to do whatever the case is, so that I'm not in this particular space. But eventually it grew in me. By the time I had my second child, it was already in me, the fact that...
Wait, so she tricked you again for the second time?
Exactly.
Okay, let's start with the first trick.
How it happened, I don't know. I'm still surprised, because she was, as far as we are concerned, we were on contraceptives, right? And then 1 minute we are pregnant.
And then when you have the conversation afterwards to say, how are you like this?
I was not happy. I was not willing to have conversations. It was me now throwing the missiles to say, this is not what I want. You know that this is not what I want.
So how do you know that did she confess that she tricked you?
She confessed later on. But for me, you know, starting to blame myself, hey, we should have looked at this thing. We should have done better in terms of prevention measures and so on and so forth. So it started being a conversation of blame game, as in, yeah, you should have done this. I should have done that. Because now I'm beating myself up to say, why did I allow this thing to happen? Maybe I should have used condoms, whatever the case is, to try and mitigate this. But unfortunately.
Sure. So then, after the rejection, like, I uzwa skin this girl. Because I guess the ears are not working. She's using her skin to hear. Because then, when you are rejecting her and you are not involved in the first pregnancy, how then does she go get pregnant again? Now where get Pastor Bae, I must blame you also, because that means you repeated the same routine that you did the first time. You didn't learn.
There are some moments that you do not learn. Like, honestly, like there's one thing that it's got a bit of devil in it, even though it's from God. Like, whenever sex is involved, right?
Everything else goes out the window.
Like, honestly, you only remember afterwards. You could
I realized that
exactly. Maybe that's the trick that she was using, because maybe I was very fond of that aspect of it, right?
Yes.
So she was using that trick. I don't know, but maybe you should sit her down and ask her these questions. Because honestly, I still don't have answers myself as to how we ended up at this point. The only thing I know is that she did something, and that something produced 2 children. That's all I know.
Not even 1, 2.
2.
How many years apart?
But I made sure, hey?
How many years apart?
I think, a year and a half or 2?
My sister, you did the trick very quick.
Very quick. I was making sure this time around. And I even made sure that by the time the doctors deliver the baby, I told the doctor that we need to close down.
The factory.
The factory must close down. And before people come for me, it was already an agreement between the 2 of us that this is the last one, right? So, but the only thing I had to do was just to make sure that they do it.
Okay.
Because I did not want any more surprises,
But these things can be reversed.
Yeah, they can be reversed, but then again, I went and, my side. Okay. I sorted out my side so that we can be 150%.
So, Pastor Bae, you really, really didn't want children?
No, I think children are expensive. Children are a lot of work, and they are bundles of joy, as you know, but they also have their ups and downs.
Okay, I want us to get to the part where you get to learn to love the children and be where you are. The reason for this is because I have a friend, guys. This friend was also tricked into having a baby. He's got a new baby now that he resents with all of his heart. And he always keeps reminding the baby mama that that's your child. You understand? And that's sad, because this person has other children that he calls planned children. And whenever the baby mama talks about those children, he'll be like, no, these are my children that I planned, and that's your child that you planned alone, So for me, the conversation is always, until when? Because this child is a copy of you. Whether at the end of the day, you did the deed, the child is here. How do we move forward? So how did you move forward?
Yeah, I like the fact that you started by mentioning that you did the deed, right? Which means that you had a hand. Whether it's something that you did not plan or whatever the case is, but bottom line is that this is your child and you need to take responsibility. So for me, I don't know how it happened, but I think there was nothing not to love about the babies when they came through, especially the first one. There was nothing not to love. I think I grew fond of the child. Like you look at a baby, there is just like absolutely nothing not to love, So you look at the baby, you fall in love, you realize that this is me, right? This is a copy of me. This is the person that I brought to this world, And the one thing that you want is to have the best for that child. For some reason, I think there was a gap in between the fact that, in my mind, when it comes to the fact that I'm already a father, but I felt like this is an easy ride. It's something that was defaulted on me. But this one, it felt like, okay, I did something for the child to be there. So eventually, I got to love the baby. I got to get fond of the baby. I don't think there's anything in particular that I did to activate that. It's just something that developed in me over time. And I started embracing the fact that now I'm a father. I've got a responsibility. And after I embraced it, I think it did a lot of good and damage. And especially for the second one, because he got to embrace feel the better side of me.
Okay, so while you're still trying to love this one and embrace everything about him because he's new, then this one is pregnant again for the second time. Do you not relapse and go back to that resentment stage where you were like, what the hell is this woman doing?
No. I think by the time the second one came, I was already excited about being a father. And even when he came, I think I had already accustomed myself to being a father. So it was easier. I don't know why it didn't feel like... I think even her reasons, because she kept on saying, no, remember, the convincing was there. It was not like there was just the tricking part and that's that. She kept on convincing this one will be bored because he'll be alone. So we need another one so that he does not. And later on, you get to realize that it was indeed true.
Meh.
Like, even though it might not seem like that, but you get to realize when you're sitting by the couch and you realize that when the two of them can go and walk together or do something together, you realize this is a relief indeed. But there was a lot of convincing in the process. So I was at least being marinated the whole time. Just get accustomed to the fact that there might be another child that may come. So by the time the child came, I was like, okay, we are already here. She spoke about it. Yes, it's a trick. I was not ready for it at that time. But then again, it's something that I'm used to now that I'm already a father to the second child, if I can call it that.
Do you feel like if you didn't grab this woman by the hand and say, listen, I am here, we are confirming that we are closing the factory, you're going to be having 10 children now?
I think so.
Meh.
Yeah, my wife, like, this person changes her mind very quick. Like, I don't know how many times she changes her mind.
So you are probably going to be having more.
We would be having a factory now. I'm telling you, she changes her mind very, very quick.
So
Like,
you had to quickly close the factory before you changes her mind?
yeah, definitely. I had to put an end to it. Like, I had to be God now and say, this is it. After he created, on the seventh day, he said he's done, right? And he rested. So that's me. We needed to rest now.
Yo. Yeah, no. Hey, thank you for saving us because we're probably not going to even afford a studio for us to sit like this with 200 babies.
Imagine.
Ha. But I think there's something that I want us to touch on, Pastor Bae, on an engaging tone, because I feel like in most cases, we always preach about how women should be gatekeepers of their wombs. And when they're succeeding, when it comes to them being gatekeepers and not giving men children, we always say, safeguard your womb. Don't give them babies, right? And also, one of the reasons why we say that is because there are women that gift men with children. Because in most cases, this is so weird. Your setup, guys, is so weird because in most cases, it's the men who want children and the woman must be the one that negotiates, right? Definitely. So you gift a man with a baby, the next thing the man runs away. You were given babies and you didn't even want them and you didn't run away. So, but now I want us to talk about the fairness. Is it yours? I don't know.
Embarrassing.
Oh, it's on both our phones. I think it's Gmail.
It's Kanye.
Yes, even here.
It's embarrassing.
So we have this thing, Yauri. Women, safeguard your womb, safeguard your womb. And also, off camera, I think we're speaking about how when a woman is not ready to have a baby, they send the baby to Abraham. Abraham will be babysitting while they are still on earth. They will find the baby when they go to heaven, if they make it there, right? And then you guys don't have the luxury of that. What is your take on that?
Yo, I think honestly speaking, right, our culture and tradition, and maybe how things have always been dealt with in the past have let men get away with a lot, right? And I'm not just talking in terms of babies, but we have been given a leeway even in things that we are not supposed to be given a leeway on. and I'm hence I am, whenever there's conversations about let's say women upliftment, feminists and all those things, I'm pro those things because
Pastor Bae.
I am telling you, I am
Okay.
pro those things, as in I encourage those things. Like
Okay.
women, when women are standing up for themselves, when people are defending women, because I kind of feel like I'm saying that men have been have been given a leeway to get away with so many crimes, right? And crimes such as dictating what happens in a woman's womb. The fact that if I wanted children, you will give me children. If I don't want children, I don't want children. It's never about you and the decision that you want for yourself. How about when women don't want children, for them to say, no, I don't want children as well, right? If you want children, then go elsewhere where you will get children. They must feel empowered. Everybody should be empowered to make a decision of what they want, right? Tricking or not, we get that. In as much as it's going to be very difficult for a man to trick a woman, maybe with words, to trick them into pregnancy, and then at the end of the day run away, like you said, that men would give women would give a man babies, and then after that the man runs away because they get away with almost everything, right? And it's okay in our society. How many times have you had in the communities wherein they're talking about children without fathers, right? They and when they say that it's made okay for men to be able to run from one house to the other to go and make children and run away, right? It's made okay with our society, the society that we are finding ourselves in. So I say, to go back to your question, I say that women should feel empowered to be able to dictate, to say that I want children, I don't want children, right? If I want my womb, I decide that in a marriage that I'm not going to have children for this marriage, and this is the agreement that we have had. They must also feel empowered. Obviously, a marriage or a relationship goes two ways. It's something that we have to agree on. And at the same time, if the husband or the man decides to run away after they're given the children, yes, the responsibility, I think I also agree with women that would go to courts and do all sorts of things so that they can get men to pay, even though I don't particularly encourage it, because at the same time, you need to understand the fact that if somebody does not want to take care of the responsibility, you cannot really force them to do that. Yes, you can do that through the courts and all those things, but then again, if they don't want to be part of their own children, it's their loss in a way, because they miss out on their own. I see you have got something to say.
You know what I think about that part? I feel like I could say that I have a baby daddy who changes his mind very quickly when it comes to sticking to his commitments. I think he's like your wife when it comes to her changing her mind about other stuff.
They should be together, ne?
My sister would wear size 28 within 2 weeks.
Oh my word.
So, when it comes to somebody that that they want to be there for the children, they, as a father, they are there. Mara, when it comes to money coming into their bank account, they change their mind very quickly. So then they need to be held accountable to a certain degree. And there's no other way of holding such people accountable unless if you involve the law. So for me, that's why I'm like giving you body language to say it's not entirely always the case, because with some, they want to be there for the children. It's just that they're not adulting enough. I don't know.
No, I agree with you, right? If the law can come to play, hence I say that if you make a baby, you must be willing to support the baby. You must be willing to ensure that the child grows up and they have everything that they need, right? Because it's your responsibility. In as much as it's the mother's responsibility, it's also your responsibility as the father. Because it takes two to tango, right?
Yeah.
So we cannot excuse you and say, go and use your money anyhow you see fit. Even if you have got debts to the core, even if your salary is 10 rands, the other half must go to the child.
Yeah.
Or whatever percentage must go to the child. So that one, I encourage it. The only thing is that what I'm saying is that sometimes we need to come to a point wherein we also decide what is enough, right? Because like there are this type of people that ends up fighting to such an extent that they're fighting for the maintenance of the child. Yet at the end of the day, it's sort of impacting the child at the same time. You know, you end up impacting the child trying to fight for the child.
Yeah.
You end up hurting the child trying to fight for the child, because they're this type of men that if they told themselves that they're not going to support the child, they will make sure that they do not. And at times it tends to float down to the child, and it tends to impact the child in ways in which somebody wants to even hurt the child for the sake of not wanting to support. So if it gets to that point, as a parent, as a mother, you need to know that at times, let it be my responsibility alone, right? I owe the child that much. I owe the child safety. I owe the child a good environment that they can grow in, provided it's hurting the child or it's impacting the child. But if it's something that you feel that it's a necessity and the law is doing its course and it's not causing any harm to the child, then I encourage you to go ahead with it.
Hey, I don't know. You know, Pastor Bae, I think maybe because I've sat with so many people, for me, my mind right now is just going wild because I'm thinking there are literally parents who there are mothers who hate their children.
Yeah.
Because we've sat with a woman who the name of her book is My Mother Hates Me. You understand what I mean? So it's not always the case that the mother would be the one that has the child's interest at heart. You know?
Definitely.
But I want us to go back to the issue of you supporting women and their feminism movements in trying to betterfy them, right? Where do we draw the line? I literally need your honest opinion on this one. And the reason for that is because for me, I feel like this whole feminism thing that we're doing, and for you already know I'm for women, right? It's like gym. When you are overweight and you're trying to lose weight, you lose weight when you reach the target. Balancing that is crazy, you know, because then you need you are like this. You need to keep the balance. So maintaining is crazy. It's a lot of work. So I feel like even with us women, with you saying that you support us in us trying to get our power back, be able to be in control of our bodies and decide what we want to do with it. Now we're crossing the line now. We are being toxic feminists now. Just recently we had a case where we were debating whether when somebody has regret sex or when somebody decides that if in the morning we did the deed and when you don't want to give me 2,000 rands, I'm going to go to the police and report somebody and say that they violated me just because I didn't have the final say or the last word or I didn't get my way with somebody. How do you feel like we should be able, how do you encourage us to do? When you are support, you are saying, yeah, team women. Now these women, they are going, you're a boy dad. They're going, your children are being falsely accused now. What do you do?
I think, like you said, there gets to be, like, you know, when politicians get onto power, right? They promise all sorts of things and they are for the people, right? But when they get to the position of power, wherein you now have the power that you craved, right? You tend to abuse the power that you have, and you start acting anyhow so that you can be able to satisfy your own interest. So the same I would say for feminism, in a sense of unfortunately, there is no line that you can draw and say, this is where you need to end, right? I don't think there can ever be that. In as much as men don't have a line that they draw and say, where do I exercise my manhood and where do I not, right? Because unfortunately, it's two parties. There is the women that are trying to empower themselves. And then there is the men that have been empowered by the society, and the society that includes both men and women. So for me, I'm saying that in as much as the society has empowered the men, so should the society empower women, right? Okay. And then what I'm trying to say by that is that we must never get to a point wherein we are pro-feminism in order to overpower the other society or the other members of society, right? So feminism should never be to prove a point. It's not about proving a point. It's not about the fact that we want to be above you as men.
Or revenge.
Exactly. It's not about that. It's about the fact that the same equality, let me call it equality. It's about equality. The fact that in as much as a man can, a woman can. If a man can claim rape in that situation that you're talking about next day after sex, then so should a woman be able to do that, right? We are not talking about a situation wherein if a woman feels empowered to be able to change their mind afterwards, a man cannot do that, right? It's about the fact that if a woman can do it, a man can also do it. So we are talking about equality. We are not talking about oppression. And I know, like you said, it's a very difficult point to say this is where we draw the line, because drawing the line has its own pros and cons, because wherever you draw the line, some other person may say that you draw the line closer to the women, you draw the line closer to the men, and everyone would always be trying to push the line to say, let it get closer to me, let it get closer to me. And unfortunately, where human beings are involved, there's always unfairness, right? And unfortunately, unfairness, it's very difficult to deal with, because human beings have got their own interest in a situation. Like if we are sitting here, if let's say this thing is falling, right? The first thing that you would do, let's say the table is falling, the first thing that you would do would be to block it from hurting you, right? You wouldn't block it from hurting me, because you have got your own interest at heart. So that's how human beings operate. So when we talk about feminism, it's all about interest, right? The interest of women are being protected. But at the same time, it gets to a point wherein we want to prove a point through feminism, right? We want to show the men that we can also have equal power. And it should never be about proving a point. It should be about me as a woman. When I'm sitting down, I feel good about myself. I feel like my interests are protected. Whatever that I need is also taken care of, in as much as men are doing so. If we talk company within the companies, in as much as men are able to earn promotion on the basis of merit, women should be able to earn promotion on the basis of merit, not because they are women. That's the equality we are talking about. We are not proving a point to anybody.
Yeah, no, I totally agree with you, ne? But at the same time, I feel like, yes, we have a long way to go, because I remember maybe some last year where a guy came to me, he's like, I was attacked by 3 women. They actually raped me. And when he went to report that at the police station, they laughed at him at the police station. So it goes back to that thing, Yaure, when you are saying that women should be able to report and men should be able to report. We still have a long way to go in terms of us striking that balance. And also the fact that when we say we're drawing the line, it's always going to be pushed towards what favors that person during that time. So yeah, we have a long way to go. I think, me personally, I feel like the only thing that we can do, especially for our children, is just to give them as much information as we possibly can and have a lot of open conversations with them as much as we possibly can.
Yeah, no, definitely. And I think what our children need to know is that the world is round, but it's not always round. It's not always going to be flowing. Like it might get stuck at some point. There are things that you will go through in life that you will need to know that this is how I deal with such issues. If a man, let's say for instance, gives you have got let's say a girl. When you have a girl, they need to be aware that you might meet, obviously at a particular age, not particularly when they're still young, but you might meet a boy that impregnates you and run away. You might encounter divorce along the line. You might encounter heartbreak along the line. These are the things that we need to be real with, so that they do not get surprised and they don't know how to even deal with. And I appreciate the people that are open about those things. I appreciate people that want other people to learn from their own experiences, because we do not only teach the old, we also, especially nowadays, we teach the young without even knowing that we are teaching the young.
Absolutely. Hi, Pastor Bae. This is the Pastor Bae I never ordered. This one is not from Temu. This one is from, the Pastor Bae from Gucci. The point you're dropping, it's like you're not the same one.
I know. I've got 2 sides.
This is the serious one.
This is the serious one.
That premium Pastor Bae.
Amen.
This
is the one. Please order it. Order. Place your orders now.
Is there anything else that I'm leaving out, guys, before we wrap it up?
The fact that I did not stop with being a father of the one boy that I started with. I became a father again later on.
Tell me about that one. The one that you guys.
Yeah.
What kind of family did you marry into, my brother?
I agree. Hey, I'm still shocked myself that like I could marry in such problems. You know?
You find problems sitting minding their business. You
Yo,
say, I want that one.
I want that one.
Ha!
Yeah. So, hey, unfortunately, I became another father. And fortunately, the young men that you have sat with on this show before, that's the one I became a father to. And again, another unfortunate part, which is called death, happened. And it happened way before I came. But then along the line, because there were some issues, I decided because I am, what do they call them? Like this Samaritan you
The
know,
Good Samaritan.
Good Samaritan. So I decided because I'm a good Samaritan, I'm going to take over this one. You know, remember the story that Jesus tells when he said there was a man that had that was beaten up and he was injured on the road, and then the Pharisees, the Sadducees, so I'm that Samaritan that went and picked him up. You know, can't he? Sometimes you know it does not always work out the way you want it to work out. And you always face challenges, whether you mean it for good, but sometimes it does not always work out for good, you know. So I became a father. My wife. Now what do I say now? Is it niece or nephew? You know,
Nephew.
Sehua.
Yeah, your wife's nephew.
Yeah, the nephew to my wife, the son to the older sister, who passed on way before we met. He was into drugs and all these things that he was doing. So I decided to take the responsibility with the intention to have him become a better man, you know, at the end of the day, because I saw this other one that I've taken care of and I saw good results and I'm like, it's possible,
simple.
you know. So
Yeah.
I decided to try it again. Unfortunately, it did not yield positive results. I've tried it multiple times, but unfortunately, where I'm sitting right now, whether I will try it again along the line, I do
I know
not
you.
know.
You will try it again. You
Esh,
want to bet how much?
esh.
You'll try
I
it
don't
again.
want to bet. I think I don't want to say it's a closed door, right? Because I always believe in giving people a chance and wanting them to be. I think I look mostly at the results, wanting to see the results more than what is happening today. So
And also in
I
the
think that's the
past.
problem. And I know I've jumped over that story as quick as possible. It's because I looked at the time and I'm like, the time is eating into
You are
us.
usually the one who tells people that their time is up. So you
So you
can't
see,
be the
I
one
respect time as well.
who's... Nah.
I respect it.
No. We appreciate that. How would you say you adopting your wife's family members into being your children now, being the father, and with this one where things didn't work out, how does that affect your marriage?
I think my marriage, I think I've married a special woman. Like honestly, I've married a special woman because she, like I said, she changes her mind very quick, right? And today she tells me this, tomorrow she tells me that. So I try to be as supportive as possible for my wife, and I believe that she knows that I've got her back. In as much as we may have multiple challenges and all that, I believe that she knows that I've got her back. I will always be supportive, whether it's a business idea, whether it's whatever. I'll always be in the back saying that you can do it. Even if I know that I don't want to do it, I'll say it, or I don't want to do this, but I'll do it because you want to do it. So I always do that. And I think it sort of strengthens it on that regard, because I'm one person, even if I'm hurt today, I easily forget. Like I move past situations very quick, and I'm always hurt, but I'm always moving past it. I think the one thing that I'm still wondering about, you asked about my marriage, but the one thing I'm still wondering about is how it affects my family, as in my parents and my siblings and all this.
Have you ever had anything from them regarding how they feel about the way you've just been, taking your wife's side of the family in? Have they ever?
I've never had that conversation. Maybe it's because I don't like addressing serious situations, serious things. I don't like it. Like, in as much as you would see here, I'm throwing in jokes and talking about this. That's how I live my daily life. And that's the problems that me and my wife encounter almost every day, because I don't address serious things. So maybe that's how I miss it when it comes to my family at home. Because they don't... we don't talk about those things much, We have had an incident in the past where the first one I adopted, he there was an incident at home because he had to go and stay in Venda with my parents for a short while. So there was a major incident that happened, which I won't disclose here.
Okay.
But it nearly tore the family apart.
Okay.
Like literally, it nearly tore the family apart, wherein he was involved and another child at home was involved. So we had a major fallout in the family, and me being me and me being like pro-wife, I decided to stick with this other side of my family, and then the other side of the family felt like I am not part of them. I'm not supportive and all these things because I'm choosing these strangers and rejecting them who are blood, So that's what happened. So I don't know how they feel today about the fact that I keep on. I don't think they know about this recent one. Maybe they do once, but they thought I took him away. But I don't think they know that I called him back again. Yeah.
I know. If they are Bible-believing people, they'll just think, I know our son has a good heart. If not, they'll probably thinking, I know, umdlisile. Like
And
proper.
I think so.
Or usdlisile when herself, they gave you and they say, feed yourself.
And I feed myself.
Yeah.
Probably. But I wouldn't put past. But even if it was the case, right? I think I want to believe that I've got other people's interest at heart, and that remains in me, and that's fully embedded in me. And I feel like the reason why I do what I do, whether it's being bewitched or whatever the case is, but like I said, I've seen it at home as well when my parents were taking care of other children. And then at the end of the day, they look at them and curse them, or whatever the case is, as in the children curse the parents by their works, right? I've seen that, but yet I've never looked at it and see it as a no-go area. For me, it's more of whatever the outcome is. And in as much as I can sit here and say there's been a lot of negative that has come up from both children that I've taken care of, I look back and say I'm proud of the things that I've done. Whether they turned out bad, whether the child can sit somewhere and say he was the worst father, I care less.
You did your best.
I did my best, the best that I could possibly do. I mean, if he was in my shoes, the struggles that I've encountered, having to look at my wife and say, and she says, provide, we need food at home. And I have no means of providing, but yet I'm trying to make sure that he has the life. Even if he looks at me tomorrow and say he's the worst father, I know that I possibly did the best that I could.
Sure. I mean, you know what? Bravo to you. Well done. And also to your wife, man. You guys are good people. You really are. I love you guys separately. Like, I have my special love for her and I have my special It's kind of complicated because it's like when we are all in the same room, one must pick a side. Because I was being told I pick sides these days.
Oh.
But yes, apparently I have favorites in the Sense Studio home.
Oh.
Yeah, but this one is in closing there. Your honest review of me as a client.
Am I allowed to close the show?
Yeah, you can close the show after you answer this one.
I think you're a good person.
Am I no client?
No, I think you're a good client.
How has it been like working with me? We started, I think, around this time last year. It's been a full year. You are not tired of me. You're not kicking me out of your house yet.
I think you're a good client. You're bringing money. That's fine. I think that's the most important thing.
Aye, my brother. There are people that you were willing to even lose their money at some point
Okay,
and they left.
No, definitely.
So you can't say
how do you know about those things?
I saw it on Twitter.
Oh, okay. I know. Yeah.
Oh, where did you think I heard it from?
No, actually, you have got friends in Sense Studios. You have got friends at Sense Studios, so you will never know. But I think, honestly, you have got a problem with time. But that's a story for another day. I don't want to say too much about it, but
Okay.
actually they will say, Urmina, stop you when you are recording and
Yeah,
stuff
guys,
like that.
just to clear Pastor Bae's name, usually the time when I'd be begging him on the camera for him to extend the time, it will be because I came late. And he's even doing me a favor by giving me 5 minutes extra. And you guys are busy blowing my chances.
Don't say 5 minutes.
No, I'm just saying.
No.
No.
Don't use 5 minutes as an example.
Okay.
Say an hour.
1 hour.
Thank you.
Mara, Pastor Bae, what I'm trying to say is that, remember the other day people were angry over 5 minutes that they were like, why can't he give you extra? You know, they didn't know that I came late.
Yeah, no.
And I came to the studio. But in
But
general,
let's leave them like that.
But in general, working with human beings, especially in this space where it's a passion-driven space.
Yeah.
How's that like?
It's challenging. Honestly, it's challenging. But I think, like you said, we try and uphold the relationships more than anything. I think we have the business side, which we need to sort of protect. But I think what we treasure the most is this, having to interact with people, having to get to meet different people and make other people like. I know that your dream has already come true, but but other people's dreams still needs to come true. To sit with them and try to work with them to empower their dreams. And in as much as we try and be strict at times, but I believe that we are flexible people, and we only do flexibility because of the Ubuntu and the humanity that we have to try and see other people progress. Because we know that it's not always your fault, the fact that you are late. It's not always your fault. Like you said, other clients drag the stories. We understand these things. Even though at times we have to also think about the next person, right? But in as much as we can, we try and be as flexible as possible because of the humanity and also wanting to build relationships more than the business.
Sure. Yeah, no, we appreciate you. We really are blessed. I say this from time to time, but I don't think I've ever said it like this, ne? There was a time where we were recording an episode where the client was like 6 hours late, and that day you were busy laughing at us saying, you are cursed, you must go back and pray. Why are your clients just doing whatever they're doing? And I'm one person that, this is one side of me that you'll never get on camera. You will only get when you see me in real life. I'm a very appreciative person, and I never take advantage of people. That's one thing I know, right? So even the smallest act of kindness for me, it goes a long way. I feel like, I don't know how many times I keep saying, I don't deserve these people. I don't deserve these people. So this one time, for the viewers at home, I'm telling the viewers, when you know you were there. So the guest was late. We started recording, I think, was it 10, 11 p.m. there?
11, yeah.
And before the guest could come in, I had to rush somewhere and come back. And these guys even bought us this, is it mocha? What?
Mochaccino.
Ha! Here I am feeling bad that I'm going to keep these people awake, and it's like I'm taking advantage. Because I don't like this. Some of us, when we come here, we are celebrities. I don't like celebrity vibes. I've never been a celebrity. I'm not planning on being one anytime soon. So I never want to be the drama queen. So even asking for the smallest favor for me, I feel like, hey, it's like now I'm taking advantage. So the fact that you guys even bought us mochaccino. I was crying when we were going to the studio. I'm like, when we're going to that SABC thing, I'm like, these guys, I don't know what I did, but we don't deserve them. We really, really appreciate you. If Kanye was here, she was probably going to be crying there on the chair. But I just want to say that thank you so much for making your home our home and understanding and interpreting the visions that we have. Because this baby that I have, or babies, because I have 2 babies now here at Sand Studios, these are very fragile babies. These are my dreams. This is my future. This is my legacy. And being able to have you guys handle that with care, I cannot thank God enough for you. And I pray for you so that God can keep you long enough until I become a billionaire.
No, we receive it. We receive it. And I think I receive it more for my wife.
Yes.
I think the one thing that, people see surface value, and they see a person from the outside and they think, but I really have a good woman.
You do.
Like, honestly speaking,
You do.
I have a good woman, and I wish most people could experience her in that way. That's my last word.
I mean, she doesn't care a damn well how they experience it, as long as those who are close to her experience her in that way.
No, definitely.
I think she's happy with that. Thank you so much, Pastor Bae. Thank you so much.
It's only a pleasure.
Shout out to you, ma'am. We love you. Okay, with that being said, thank you so much for joining in. I just want to send a big shout out to E2 Hair Studios, a big shout out to Crown Lioness, a big shout out to Hydro Quench, a big shout out to Virtuous Indoni Lodge. Last but not least, our home, Sand Studios, a big shout out to them. I'll see you guys on the flip side. God bless you. Mwah.